Paul Farrington, joined alongside Jack Weinberger, and back in Allendale, New Jersey, Michael Rotundo. Jack and I, we are in Plantation, Florida, right near Fort Lauderdale. Final day of vacation. We've been down here for a few days now and have had quite a good time. There's the sunglasses. That's what we like to see from Michael. And this is our favorite time of year. For those listening, this is our favorite time with the NCAA tournament. Thursday and Friday, I think we've argued for a while, are two of the best days in all of sports. Probably the two best days, right?
Oh, hands down, Paul. Absolutely, yeah.
So we're going to do a quick bracket breakdown for you for anyone who's struggling to make some picks and needs some speedy assistance. You've come to the right place. Mike, those glasses, they are looking real good right now.
Hey, thank you. I brought them out for the special time of year. As I always say, the first weekend of the NCAA tournament is the best couple days of the year. March is the best month. Mark my words. This tournament will be electric.
So why don't we start off here in the West region? That's the region with Gonzaga as the 1 seed, Duke is the 2, and then at 3, Texas Tech. I know you guys have a very special pick here, something close to your heart and close to your wallet. Why don't you guys tell us, who's your pick coming out of the West? What games are you looking at?
I'll let you go first, Jack.
Cool. Coming out of the West, I have a Gonzaga-Texas Tech Elite Eight matchup. I like to draw Texas Tech out here. Montana State should be easy. Alabama, if they
who's to say?
Okay. I caught myself, Paul. I'm sorry, I caught myself. Alabama, Notre Dame,
we have
or
to
Rutgers.
see that first 4 matchup.
Yes, Alabama, Notre Dame, or Rutgers. I think Texas Tech's a tough matchup for all 3 of those teams. I have them advancing. Then you got Duke. I think Duke is a decent team, but I think against a team like Texas Tech, physical, old, I think it's a tough matchup for Duke. Their youth will show. And I got Texas Tech, and actually, you know what? I got Arkansas knocking off Gonzaga. This team was beating Kentucky. They beat Tennessee. This is a very good team. I think they take care of Gonzaga. Texas Tech beats Arkansas, goes to the Final Four, wins the NCAA tournament. I got the Red Raiders, guns up, Mark Adams.
Mike, quick, before you start, Mike, let me just ask. So with Texas Tech in that Sweet 16, in that round of 32 game, you guys both like them over Notre Dame, Rutgers, or Alabama, right? You think they're a bad matchup for all 3 of those teams?
Yeah, I mean, the only problem that Alabama could potentially show us is if they drain 15 threes, because they're just a 3-point shooting team. They're horrible down low, and that's the only way they could present problems to us. But Texas Tech is the number 1 defense in the country statistically, and they're very good around the perimeter, and everyone that starts is like between 6'4" and 6'9", so they're able to switch on and off opponents, on and off defenders.
Do you think that Duke could lose in the round of 32 to either Michigan State or Davidson?
Possible, but unlikely. I mean, I've Michigan State beating Davidson in a very close matchup just because, I mean, Jack was saying yesterday, Izzo doesn't lose in the first round very much. So I have Michigan State beating Davidson very close. And then in the classic Michigan State-Duke matchup from a couple years ago in the Elite Eight where Michigan State edged them out, I think Duke will get them back. And then we'll have a very good matchup between Texas Tech and Duke. UNC did expose Duke a couple weeks ago. Duke's not that good on defense. They're very young, and they can't win close games. So I think Texas Tech will beat them, suffocate them on defense, and we'll get the win. I have them facing Gonzaga in the Elite Eight. Very tough matchup. Gonzaga presents a lot of trouble with Timmy and Holgram down low, but I think the defense of Texas Tech will lead them to victory. Texas Tech will fix their free throw problem, get to the Final Four.
Nice. I like that. I have Gonzaga and Texas Tech in my Elite Eight as well, but I have Gonzaga winning that game.
But I do want to say, though, sorry to cut you off. I do want to say, though, Arkansas is an interesting pick because they're weird. They can either, I think, in my opinion, they have the hardest path because Vermont in the first round is a good team. I think they'll get past them. But that UConn-Arkansas matchup, if it happens, could be the matchup of the second round.
Really?
Like Paul and
I think that UConn-Arkansas could be the best matchup in the second round.
It's funny you say this, Mike. Paul and I have New Mexico State knocking off UConn.
No one's talking about them. They're not bad. Everyone's talking about Vermont, Chattanooga, UAB. No one's talking about New Mexico State. So
it's not that UConn's a tremendous team either. They have it's RJ Cole, right? Cole, their guard.
This is a team a couple years back as a 12, and the Final Four Auburn was a 5, and New Mexico State lost by a point. Had an open look at the end to win the game.
Yeah, and a lot of those players are still on the team.
So this will be a tough matchup for UConn in the first round here.
I think that's my favorite. No, we'll actually get to a different 5-12 that I like more. But this is my second favorite 5-12 upset pick here.
I do have UConn in my Sweet 16, but what do I know? I'm usually wrong.
Look, it's inevitable, I will say. It is inevitable we get this Texas Tech Duke Sweet 16. And I did pick Arkansas, just, for the hell of it. But if I had a gun to my head, I'd say we see a very, very, very good Texas Tech Gonzaga matchup in the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
I like that too.
I mean,
right,
we have to hope for our Gonzaga future better, or not Gonzaga, for our Texas Tech future betters out there.
Yeah, for our squad
we have to
players.
hope Gonzaga loses to someone before the Elite Eight to make it a little easier for Texas Tech.
Wish they could.
All right, why don't we go down here to the East region? Baylor's the 1, Kentucky as the 2. Jack, what is your Sweet 16 in this?
So you're in the East region. I do have Baylor advancing to the Sweet 16. I think UNC poses problems. I don't think Baylor's what they were last year. I don't know how great they are. I've seen them exposed a few times. Texas Tech's knocked them off twice. OU's beaten them. I do have them, though, edging out UNC, getting to the Sweet 16, and I have them playing Indiana. This is one of the most dangerous 12s I've seen. Trace is the best player on the floor in a lot of games. Yeah, the X-Man, this team has beaten Purdue. They hung with Purdue again on the road. They have some very strong wins. They've shown they can play with amongst the best. I have them knocking off St. Mary's and knocking off UCLA, and then losing to Baylor in the Sweet 16. And then I also got Purdue, Kentucky, pretty shocked. Most people probably have that. And I have Kentucky, Baylor, and Kentucky in the Final Four playing Texas Tech.
Is there any chance that Texas can take down Purdue or Virginia Tech?
Texas will beat Virginia Tech. The way that Texas lost in the first round to Abilene last year, they're not going to lose again.
Texas is a very good team. I could see that Purdue game being a lot closer than people expect.
I would say Tech is caught fire at the right time, but I think they peaked at their ability to play. They had to play for their lives because they had to win and they're in. And if they lost to Duke, they wouldn't be in. So I think they're going to play good. It'll be a close matchup, but I think the experience of Tech, all those transfers, a lot of talent on that team, they haven't really panned out as what we thought. But I think Texas will get them in a close matchup.
Mike, what about you? What's your Sweet 16?
So I have Baylor beating Norfolk, obviously, then beating North Carolina. And then I have Purdue beating Kentucky. So then we'll have a Baylor-Purdue matchup, and I have Purdue coming out of that region.
Who do you have Baylor beating in the Sweet 16? UCLA?
In the Sweet 16, yes, UCLA. I think UCLA has... UCLA, if it depends. I kind of like what Jack's saying with Indiana, but I do have Indiana beating St. Mary's, but I think the experience of UCLA making a tournament last year with that run, they were kind of a Cinderella last year. They're still good this year, but teams kind of know them now.
No, they don't have that chip on their shoulder like last year.
They do have NCAA basketball tournament experience, which is the most important thing. So they know how to win in these situations. So I have them advancing.
So you have Baylor. You have Baylor, though, coming out of the East.
Yeah, Baylor wasn't what they were last year. One of their centers is injured.
No, you have Purdue,
and
right?
they don't have the backcourt.
Oh, or you have Purdue? You have Purdue coming out?
Yeah, I have Purdue coming out. I think just
got it.
The sides of Purdue with Edie and Williams down low rotating. He has one of the best guards in the country.
I also have Baylor, UCLA, Purdue, and Kentucky. It's no fun to pick chalk to me, but I go through these brackets. I'm like, I don't know if I want to put Indiana into my Sweet 16 just because. I feel like it's very risky since they're playing St. Mary's, and no one's talking about St. Mary's. I haven't seen anyone pick St. Mary's yet.
Well, why would you?
No, but I'm saying like putting a double-digit seed into your Sweet 16, it's a risk, but at the same time, it's not going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Actually,
this Indiana team, guys, St. Mary's, they're good. They have a win over Gonzaga. This is a good team, but Indiana, they're so battle-tested in the Big Ten. The teams they've beaten. They've showed they can play with the best of the best. They've beaten Illinois. They've beaten Purdue. I don't really see St. Mary's being able to play with a good team out of the Big Ten.
No, I'm with you. I have Indiana as well. But I think UCLA then gets Indiana. UCLA is a solid team.
That's going to be a really, really good game.
Yeah.
UCLA's not going to cakewalk through Indiana.
No, actually, I don't think so either. But I think they will win.
Interesting stat that my friend told me. It says historically, teams that have a top 25 offense, but not a top 150 defense, have never made the Elite Eight, and only one team has made the Sweet 16. Purdue and Iowa both fit that bill. So that's something to think about, I think. Both aren't great defensively. They allowed up a lot of points. So, and defense
So-
travels.
So Michael has Purdue, Jack has Kentucky, I have Kentucky. Let's go up to the South. Arizona as the 1, Nova as the 2. This one's presented a lot of troubles for me because my gut tells me Arizona is a machine right now. Every now and then I get this feeling during the season when I watch a team and I say they look like they're the best team in the country, and I get that vibe with Arizona, but my heart resides with Villanova. And Villanova is a good team, but a team that probably won't win the NCAA tournament unless they really get hot from deep. But I'll start with my own Sweet 16. I have Arizona, Illinois, Tennessee, and Nova. Again 1, 2, 3, 4. This one I feel a little more confident about, though, because I think that Illinois should be able to handle Houston or UAB pretty easily. I know Mike kind of rides Chattanooga. But then I have Tennessee taking care of business this Sweet 16, Nova as well. Nova beating Tennessee to play Arizona in the Elite Eight. And I'll have Villanova going to the Final Four, returning to the Final Four for the first time in a few years. You guys think that? Is that ridiculous?
I mean, I think, I know, I'm like the rest of the planet here. I think Arizona cleans up this region. I like Tennessee. I'm not, as you know, I'm not huge on Villanova. I mean, there's a team in the Big East. I don't think the Big East is really all that. I mean, they barely beat St. John's. They beat Providence by a combined 7 points. Barely beat Creighton in the championship. Like, not a giant fan of the Big East. I have a future bet on Providence myself for the hell of it. But this path for Nova is tough. Ohio State is a 7, Tennessee, then Arizona. I just don't see a way Arizona doesn't come out of this side. I got the Cats in the Final Four, beating Tennessee in the Elite Eight. I actually have Ohio State over Villanova. I'm not a giant fan of the Big East.
Wow. Mike, what do you have?
Definitely. When looking at this side of the bracket, I think Arizona just stands out far and above, like, better than the rest. I mean, you could say Houston or Illinois. I mean, Illinois with their size and their guard play and their being experienced could present some problems.
Illinois is really good. I think they're a
Illinois is
really good team.
They could present some problems. Tennessee's really good, but I have Tennessee losing to Nova because Nova just plays fundamental basketball, and they've been in these situations for many years. And Jay Wright has 2 championships. He knows how to win in the tournament. And I like the guard play of Nova. But Arizona Nova in my Elite Eight, but I have Arizona edging out Nova. Just Nova's too small. They're a perimeter team, and Arizona has some big guys down low that could present some problems.
Tennessee's a team to really keep an eye on. I mean, Tennessee was mopped by Nova very early on, but is a totally different team. They've beaten Kentucky 2 times. Some of these wins that Tennessee has under their belt are some of the best in the country.
Tennessee, where did they? I'm trying to remember. SEC championship. They won the conference.
They won the
yeah.
yes.
So coming off a conference championship, there's a few keys that I like to look at for picking my national champion. A few of them are: 1, you have to be playing well at the end of the year. 2, you need to have a player who can kind of take over a game. I don't know Tennessee too well, but do they have that kind of guy?
Yeah, they have Kennedy Chandler.
Yeah.
He's Tennessee would take down Villanova in a Sweet 16 matchup. I think.
You think so?
Yes.
Yeah, that could be. But
They would get him back from an embarrassment a couple.
Tennessee's not a bad pick to make the Final Four either. I mean, I don't know.
Because this Illinois-Arizona matchup, too, these 2 teams played earlier on. It was a 4-point game.
Yeah.
Kofi
Arizona
will give
went, Illinois beat
Arizona...
them.
They did. Kofi will give Arizona some problems, but I don't see Arizona on a neutral floor losing to any one of these teams, except for maybe Tennessee.
I think Illinois, though, is the best 4 seed in the tournament. I like them more than Arkansas. I like them more than UCLA.
See, I think Arkansas is probably the best.
Yeah,
I like them more than Providence.
Yeah, the thing with Illinois is, from watching them a couple times this year, they shoot a lot of threes, just like Bama. Not as much as Bama, but still a lot of threes. And if those aren't being knocked down, then they're going to be in trouble versus any team in the tournament. They can also beat any team in the tournament, too, if they knock down those threes.
So, Paul, you got Nova coming out of there, and Mike and I have the Cats. Arizona Cats. We all have the Cats. We all have the Cats.
Yeah. Let's jump down to the Midwest. Kansas as the 1, Auburn as the 2. I'll start again here. I like Kansas to easily get to the Sweet 16. Creighton maybe can show up for the first half, but they're not going to play a full game with Kansas. I like Iowa beating Providence. South Dakota State's a really popular upset pick, and I'll let you guys touch on this more. Providence is a very good basketball team that people aren't given the respect they deserve. Then I have Wisconsin and Auburn. Though I do think that Auburn-USC will be a better game than people may expect. So Kansas, Iowa, Wisconsin, Auburn. I have Kansas and Auburn playing in the Elite Eight, and Auburn upsetting the Jayhawks to go to the Final Four. Auburn possibly is the best player in the country with Jabari Smith. They were red hot earlier this season. They kind of have been iffy late, but I still like the team that Bruce Pearl has there. Very chippy team with Walker Kessler, a big guy down low to clean up boards. I have Auburn in my Final Four.
I like that ball. I mean, I have KU in my Final Four. I'm eyeing that KU-Auburn Elite Eight matchup, which I can't see that not happening. And Auburn can win that game. This is a very good basketball team who not a lot of people are giving a whole lot of credit to right now. I think it's a good pick. I will touch on Providence. I've been high on Providence all year. I like this team. I think they're gritty. They're old. No credit whatsoever.
No.
This is the shortest spread, a 2-point spread in 4 versus 13 history. All this team will be hearing the entire week is how South Dakota State's going to upset them. And I would tell you right now, there is no way Providence loses the first round with a bunch of fifth-year seniors to South Dakota State. I like them -2. I like them to advance. I like them over Iowa as well. They will be hearing a lot of Iowa talk. I think Providence gets by them and eventually loses to KU. But I have Providence in the Sweet 16, losing to Kansas. I got LSU, a team that I like a lot, over Wisconsin, eventually losing to Auburn. And I have that Auburn versus KU Elite Eight, and then KU advancing to the Final Four. But I think I like Providence to get past South Dakota State and Iowa.
How about you, Mike?
Yeah, no, at first when I was looking at, well, I'll tell you who I have first. I have Kansas coming out of that. I have Kansas going to the finals.
Well, let's not jump the gun, Michael.
But
keep people on the edge of their seats.
Kansas-Auburn matchup, but I think Auburn's very talented. They've been a 1 seed for essentially like half the year, but their guards haven't really been playing well, and the tournament's mostly your guards need to be playing well for the tournament, and this team's not too hot right now. They have arguably the best player in the country that could heat up at any point. I think they need to get him the ball a lot in order to win these games versus these high-powered teams. But I think Kansas, just like Arizona, stands out as much better than everyone else in this region. So Kansas, Auburn, kind of chalk in this region, but I have Kansas beating Auburn. I think they could beat them by like 10, honestly. But to touch upon Providence, at first I was looking at South Dakota State, and I was like, they're 30-win team. They won 21 straight, this and that. But then I remembered last year how everyone was like, oh, Wofford's going to be Nova. And Nova just wiped the floor with them. So that could be another thing this year. Providence, as Jack said, a lot of fifth-year seniors. They know how to win. They've been in a lot of close games, but all the close games they've been in this year, for the majority of them, have won other than Nova. So they're going to beat South Dakota State by a decent amount, I think.
So in terms of the 5-12 games,
let me pose one question here, right? So if this was a matchup between Villanova and South Dakota State, there's no way anybody's picking South Dakota State. And
Nova's also a 2 seed.
But this is a Providence team who's played with Nova down to the wire twice.
Yeah, they lost twice. The thing is, they lost twice.
But once without Al Durham, and they probably win that game with him.
I'm with you. But
so I don't really see South Dakota State playing this game with Providence.
Yeah, no, just at like eye value, Nova's just a more appealing team because they've been here and they won 2 championships. Like Providence,
they've become a name. Yeah,
really,
I agree.
I agree. Providence just hasn't gone far in a tournament a lot, and this is the best team that Ed Cooley's arguably ever had. So, I mean, they could beat Iowa also. I mean, Iowa's the hottest team in the country right now, and a lot of people, like a lot of analysts I'm looking at, have Iowa in like the Final Four, which I think is kind of ridiculous. Because you have to remember, Iowa isn't that much of an athletic team. They could shoot very well, but if a team's more athletic than them, that's where they pose a lot of problems. Like last year with Oregon. I mean, Iowa had the best player in the country last year, and they just got mopped by Oregon.
The physicality and the athleticism of Providence will take care of Iowa.
Yeah.
But again, I don't see Kansas losing that Sweet 16 matchup to whoever they play.
I mean, Watson's a mismatch for any team.
So why don't we go into the Final Four? Mike, we can start with you. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you have Texas Tech, Purdue, Arizona, and Kansas?
Correct. That's what it is right now. I could make some changes, but that's what I'm leaning towards.
All right, now break it down. Give us your championship and your winner.
So my championship, I have Texas Tech beating Purdue in a close matchup. Purdue's bigs are going to be a problem for Texas Tech, but the way Texas Tech plays defense and suffocates when teams get down low, I think they'll edge them out. And then I have Kansas over Arizona. I haven't seen a lot of Pac-12 this year. I've seen a little bit of Arizona, very good. That's why I have them in my Final Four. But I've seen a lot of Kansas and a lot of Big 12 this year. Kansas just knows how to win. They win a lot. So I have Kansas beating them. Then we have a rematch, a Big 12 rematch, Texas Tech, Kansas. Kansas has beat them twice, has beat Texas Tech twice. Close matchups, though, but I have Texas Tech beating Kansas, another close matchup, and winning the NCAA tournament.
I'm with you, Mike. Guns up, baby.
Red Raider Nation.
Mike, we have three of the Final Four teams. We both have Texas Tech, Arizona, and KU. I just have Kentucky. Mm-hmm. I have Texas Tech beating Kentucky. I have Arizona beating KU, and then Texas Tech beating Arizona. And this Texas Tech thing, I'll throw it out there, guys. You know, we're all on a squad play at plus 2,500. This is a team who's beaten Kansas. They've beaten Baylor twice. They've won on the road. There it is. They've won on the road at Tennessee. I mean, they've played the best teams in the country, and they've beaten them. And I mean, they had Kansas twice take away a Baji 40-foot buzzer beater in Allen Fieldhouse, and Texas Tech wins that game. I think this team at plus 2,500 is the best value bet in the entire tournament.
Texas, yeah, you can make the argument also Texas Tech could have won a Big 12 championship if they were making free throws late in the game.
And I like their path too. Away. I really do like their path to the Elite Eight because, in all honesty, they should be able to take care of Notre Dame or Rutgers, Alabama, whoever winds up winning that first round matchup. And then I don't think that Duke is a great 2 seed.
Youth will be exposed against Texas Tech.
Yeah, Duke has struggled, especially late this season. Duke got blown out by Vatech. They lost Coach K's last game against North Carolina. I would much rather play Duke than Kentucky or Auburn.
I think Texas Tech, like I said before, is a nightmare matchup for a team like Duke.
Yeah. If you were Texas Tech, would you rather draw Duke or Villanova?
Villanova.
Probably Villanova. So would you rank the twos? Kentucky, Auburn, Duke, Nova?
Yes.
Okay, that seems about right.
Maybe Kentucky, Duke, Auburn, Nova. So maybe or either it's close. Nova's definitely I think my last 2 seed.
You have Texas Tech and Arizona.
Yep.
With Tech winning as well. Wow. So both of you guys now is this more of like you actually think Texas Tech will win?
We didn't even discuss our Final Four.
Oh,
either.
You didn't. You didn't.
No,
but
we didn't discuss the Final Four.
With Texas Tech, is that like coincidence, or do you guys both really think that?
Well, Jack and I just from betting just bet a lot of Big 12.
We're big Big 12 guys. Yeah.
We both saw like almost 2 months ago Texas Tech was just like really good and weren't talked about much. And obviously they're one of the best defensive teams in the country. So we were like, let's see how they do later in the season. And we just said, and personally, I never like picking 1 seeds just because everyone else picks it. And for just bracket tournaments and stuff, it's just never fun to have a 1 seed.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
I like a team that could lose, but is good enough not to lose at the same time.
We look at a value perspective.
If you win, you don't have to get the rest of your bracket right. Yeah,
that's what I like too. Where if you pick the winner, you probably win your bracket. Because if you pick Gonzaga or Arizona, you need to be like 80% accurate to win any bracket challenge you're in. My Final Four is Gonzaga, Kentucky, Villanova, and Auburn. Mm-hmm. I think Gonzaga, Kentucky would be a really fun game. But ultimately, I'm going to go with the Zags. I haven't seen a ton of them this season. But I do think that they're a very good team from the times that I have watched.
Yeah.
Then the Nova-Auburn game is tough for me because, again, I'm a Villanova fan, and I want to pick them. But the fact that they have to get by Arizona, which I already think is a challenge, and Tennessee, I just think Auburn is a little bit of a better team. So I have Auburn playing Gonzaga, and I have Auburn winning. Not sure how confident I am in that selection, but I think it's a solid pick, given that most people aren't considering the Tigers as a real threat right now. Like a month ago, they were top 3 team in the country in most people's opinion.
I think it's a good pick.
So I think it's a solid pick in terms of winning the bracket. I could change to Nova, not sure, but there you have it. Auburn, Texas Tech. We'll probably all be out by Saturday.
Yeah, we'll probably all lose and hop on a new team.
Another point, guys, I want to bring really quickly on the Zags. Because again, I hope they lose to Arkansas because I have Texas Tech winning the tournament in a futures bet, as Mike does and as some of our other friends do. This is a team that really can't win. They're disrespected because if they go undefeated in the West Coast Conference, they play nobody. But if you lose a game, oh God, they lost to St. Mary's, wow. But this is a team who, in the preseason, they beat Texas Tech, they've murdered UCLA, lost to Duke, lost to Bama.
Did they play Baylor this year?
And they beat another. They have another good, very non-conference win. They went 3-2 in a span of hard teams. Whereas if most other teams do that in that 3-2 stretch, they're praised. But since it's Gonzaga, they only hear about losing, and they stink. This is a very dangerous team with a chip on their shoulder. Again, ultimately, I do think they lose to either Arkansas or Texas Tech, but a scary team that, if they were to win it all, could be this year.
Yeah, you're right. Normally, you don't see Gonzaga get those matchups with highly ranked teams, but they were blowing people out early in the season. Like good teams, they were blowing them out. And Chet Holmgren, most people think he's the best player in the tournament, which I don't know if I agree with. I think he's got to get a little stronger. Like what is he? 195, 7'1", 195.
He's like 7'1", like 192.
There are not many people who are thinner than me. And he is.
And I'm one of them too.
But he just has no muscle on him at all. Very, very good player, but I just wonder at what point, if you play Kentucky and Sheboy's there, those are some tough matchups for. I'd like to see him play against some strong bigs and see what happens. So you just throw Timmy on him, I guess.
Yeah, I also want
like my revenge spots.
I also want to point out when Texas Tech played Gonzaga, they lost by I think 12. Texas Tech didn't have two starters.
They were missing Shannon. They were missing DeSosa, Silvio.
Silvio.
The big guy, the fifth-year senior. The fifth-year senior.
Yeah.
I like my revenge spots too, Mike. As you know, I think Texas Tech will get him back in that game, fully healthy.
But let me ask you guys a question: what, I guess, underdog or lower-ranked team do you guys see, if there's any, making a decent run? Because that always happens every year.
You like Indiana, right?
Yeah, I like Indiana. Mike, you mean like a non-Power 5 type team? Because Indiana
let's go with the team that's 11 or lower.
Indiana's my double.
Or 11 or higher, I'd say.
Indiana's a 12. Yeah.
Ooh, to go on a run? I'm looking at... Oh, you said 11. Okay, because Davidson, I don't know what to think about Davidson. People have been talking them up all year, but it doesn't seem like many people have them.
I saw Davidson play at Dayton. In the game, I had Dayton. Davidson's a good team, but I don't think they're a team that is able to get past Michigan State. And if they do, they're not getting past Duke. They're an okay team out of the Atlantic 10. They didn't even win the A-10. They lost to Richmond in the Atlantic 10 tournament.
Mm-hmm. That's true. What do you guys think about Loyola? Loyola's always pretty good in the tournament.
The fact they're favored over Ohio State, who just lost last year to Oral Roberts, Ohio State's going to beat Loyola.
That's what I'm saying. I can't see Ohio State losing back-to-back first-round matchups versus a lower seed.
I think Ohio State could beat Loyola, and I think the size Ohio State has against Nova is a matchup nightmare for that team.
No one's talking about Ohio State. I don't know if they get past the round of 32, but they'll win their first-round matchup.
I'm not a big fan.
I have them in the Sweet 16. I have them knocking off Nova.
I'm not a big fan of any of the 7, 10, or 8, 9 seeds this year. I'm looking at all the 1 versus 8 or 9s, and I just don't see a team... people like North Carolina because they beat Duke, but they didn't have a great showing in the ACC tournament. I think that all the 1s roll to the Sweet 16.
If there's a 1 seed to get out first, who do you guys think it would be?
Baylor losing UNC.
That would be Baylor to UNC.
Okay, cool. We're all in agreement with that.
And then out of the 2s,
or the Zags to Arkansas in the Sweet 16.
Zags to Boise?
Or Memphis.
Ooh. Murray State will be fun to watch. Very quietly 30-2.
Yeah, that's true. That would be a pretty cool Kentucky matchup with Murray State, Kentucky.
This reminds me of the guys with this Murray State team a couple of years back when they had 30 wins. And a lot of people were saying... With Ja's a freshman. And they had senior guard Stark. And a lot of people were saying they were going to knock off 50 to West Virginia. And they got absolutely mopped. I mean, I really value these conferences.
They got destroyed versus Florida State.
I value these conferences I love these higher end conferences. I'm not a fan of these teams who have 30 wins in these low end conferences because you put most of these teams in the tournament in the Missouri Valley, Ohio Valley.
You have Missouri Valley. You have like Southern Conference. All these lower conferences with kind of average to below average teams.
And I think Providence goes 35-0 in the Summit League.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking at my bracket right now, and I just see 3 upsets in the first round.
I know I'm doing something wrong when my bracket's
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
When my bracket looks when my bracket looks too good, I just know it's gonna fail.
Yeah, I might have to go through this and just start a little chaos. We'll see. Well, all right, that'll do it for this episode of the Paul Farrington Show. We're going to open up our own March Madness bracket on ESPN. It'll be free to enter. The winner could get a custom shirt. It'll be fun. We'll send the link around. Follow us on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, the YouTube channel. Soaring with subscribers right now. So check that out. Make sure to subscribe. And thanks for listening, guys. And good luck to your brackets. Send us your picks, and we look forward to seeing who you have taking down the Nets in April. Ciao.